Hello, welcome to the Inspire View series. My name is Cherrise Boucher, and I am a momentum strategy coach. And I am wrapping up my second year of this series, which is so exciting for me because of the numerous women from all around the world that I've talked to. My inspiration for doing this series was to connect with people, women in particular, who have followed their passion and their inspiration into doing what they love. And I find that the value that you get from listening to other people's stories really kind of lights your own fire and gets you motivated to say, hey, I can do that too. So that is where it all kind of started back a couple years ago and where it continues to go, at least right now. And I continue to meet inspiring women, and that is no exception for today. I'm so happy to introduce you to Kristy Jones because we've recently met, I don't know, the past few months, I guess, right, Kristy?
Yes.
So Kristy works with ambitious and highly driven women who love their corporate careers but yearn for something more. How many of us have been there? As a corporate exit strategist, she balances her innate ability and experience as a team and business builder with her relationship building skills. She's found her purpose is to help support and guide women through their own transitions and changes that result in transformation. She helps them find their purpose and achieve new levels of success with their talents and abilities. When she's not guiding her clients, she can be found spending time with her friends, family, and her dogs in her home in Western Michigan. Welcome, Kristy.
Thank you. Thank you,
I think a lot of us can relate to the corporate thing and that yearning for like, oh my God, there's going to be more than this. Sometimes corporate jobs are great, at least for a little while, and then you just start getting used to it or it starts getting boring. So because you start feeling like, oh my God, there's more I can do with my life than just this, you know? So I'm sure you've heard a lot of stories and experienced that yourself. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yes. Share with us a little bit about how you got to wanting to do what you're doing now.
Sure. I think just even being, young and realizing that I would move from one place to the next, in my corporate career and not really ever sticking to any one thing. And in my head, I always thought that was kind of a bad thing. But I think that it was more, okay, I've got this promotion, I'm going to be promoted here, and then I'm going to be promoted here. And from the outside looking in, it was a good thing. But in my head, I was like, just not really. I'm craving something different. Right. I'm craving a contentment that I wasn't able to find in corporate. And it wasn't until I decided I wanted to go to health coach school that about 2 years ago, I had actually come back from a retreat that pushed me out of my comfort zone. And I thought to myself, I need to do something that pushes me outside of my comfort zone every day. Mm. And I got off the plane. I actually signed up for health coach school. And about a year later, I was actually all done with health coach school. And I was like, what in the world am I going to go ahead and do now? And I thought that I would go ahead and marry my health coaching business and my health and wellness business, and was like, okay. That actually has transitioned and gone back to helping people find their purpose and really wanting to go ahead and have it all. I didn't really think that I could have it all when I was in corporate. Everything was compartmentalized. My family was here, my job was here, my friendships were here. I just didn't think I could go ahead and meld it all. Didn't know how to meld it all.
Right. So, yeah, it really does feel very compartmentalized. Mm-hmm. You've got your work friends, and then you've got your other friends. You've got your family.
Yep. And how do you balance it all? And I really, really struggled with that balance. And I finally was like, I'm done. Like, this isn't my life. This is not the life that I want to go ahead and continue to lead. And I did something about it. So
was there like a final cracking point? Like, what motivated you and inspired you to just go out on your own?
I think it really went back to, I had taken a job in Chicago And I had moved from Madison to Chicago, and I had really taken some of the baggage that I had carried with me. It kept coming with me. It wasn't ever really, I could never really get rid of it. And I think that a lot of people can relate to that, because we walk around and we're like, okay, I'm just going to move and everything will be fine.
Right.
Or I'm going to make this different circumstance, happen. And we don't ever really look at what, is deep down inside. I did that. And I realized that the same things that were happening when I lived in one place were happening in another. And I was super stressed out. I was super overwhelmed. My boss was asking for numbers, like sales numbers at the end of our business day. And he had asked, and I'd only been there about a month, and I was like, you're asking me for things that I'm still trying to figure out how to process this system, when I was like, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work for me. And that was really my breaking point. I was like, I have to figure out what I want to go ahead and do and just do it. Mm-hmm. And I left. I left with no notice. I had
like that day, or did you? Were you just like, I'm gonna?
To be honest with you, like I had started there in April. I had made that move in April, and I used to feel really, really guilty about this, and I don't anymore, because it's a choice that I made, and it wouldn't be something I would go ahead and necessarily advise somebody to do.
Right.
And that's why I do what I do. Is to help them walk through that process to be able to go ahead and leave. But, that was a breaking point. He was asking for numbers, and we were pulling strategy, and like, I was really learning the system. Mm-hmm. And being at a new financial institution. And he was like, and he didn't have any idea that I was unhappy. And in the back of my head, I was creating like a plan to leave. And about a month later, I called him up and I said, you know what? This isn't working for me. I'm going to leave my keys on my desk. I'm done. And he was like, you're what? And I said, I'm done. I said, this is not the place for me. And I left. And he called me the next day and he was like, are you sure? And I said, I really want to go ahead and pursue something that's mine, something that I can go ahead and grow myself. I have a plan. I know exactly what I'm going to go ahead and do and what I need to execute and get shit done.
Yeah.
And I did it. And obviously that's, transformed a lot.
Right.
In that 18 months. But I don't regret ever, having left. So it's been scary and a roller coaster, but it's the journey that I've been on. So, and I look at it like a journey.
Yeah, me too. It definitely is. It definitely is. And I think it's very brave of you to have done it like that. I know like a lot of people who have various ways of doing it. They're like, just jump like you did. Or then there's the, okay, set up a nice plan and, have your little steps, and which ideally is what most people would do. But then sometimes it's just not what happens.
You get to the point where you're just done. I'm just done. I was at a breaking point. I'd already been working, this plan and what I'd been doing, and like needed to take that next step.
Yeah.
Because if not, I'd already attempted to try to take that next step in a previous position and make some different changes at that point, and, take reduced hours or try something a little bit different so I could go ahead and do both. Mm-hmm. But that circumstance didn't pan out. So this was my next step. And a lot of people were like, my family was like, you did what?
I can imagine.
They didn't understand, but they understand now why I've done what I've done. So, and it's been really a healing process for me too.
Yeah. I'm sure you learn a lot about yourself when you go on this entrepreneurial journey.
Yep. If you ever wanted to have your own ability to grow and push yourself, this is definitely the way to go ahead and do that.
Yeah. It's such a mix of stuff too. You know, you're like, oh, it's great. And then the next day you're like, what am I doing? You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it is.
But for me, I think I've learned the tools to be able to go ahead and to recognize that this is just a situation in time.
Right.
You know, that fear may set in. This is just a situation in time.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do in order to go ahead and move past this?
Right.
And for me, it's taking necessary action.
Yeah.
To be able to go ahead and push myself to do something rather than remaining stuck.
Mm-hmm. And
that's one of the things that I've learned in this journey. So it's pretty cool.
So you would say that your like your little knowledge nugget probably would be that, like to learn,
mm-hmm.
To learn, first of all, that no matter what setbacks you have, it's only what you make of it, and
mm-hmm.
that it's temporary if you want it to be, because you can take the actions to get out of that, change it, shift your mindset around it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all go through that, like we were talking before we started recording. We all go through those moments, those oh shit moments of what am I doing, and
did I make the right decision?
Right. And I think that's so important for people to know that they're not alone in feeling that way, because I don't know anybody who doesn't. Of all the people that I talk to, and I'm sure same for you, that we all feel like that from one time to the next, or, you know.
I think that we feel that way even as non-entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
You know, I can put myself back in those shoes of being in corporate.
What am I doing here?
And think, what in the world am I doing?
I know.
You know, and having it spin out of control. But like, had I learned then what I know now, wow, how powerful would that have been? You know, and now I don't stay stuck in the fear, that ego. I kind of use that to push me out now.
Right. So why do you feel, I guess, what is like your driving factor for doing what you do now?
I really felt like I had more of a purpose. I mean, I had a great job, you know, in financial services. A lot of people, you establish that level of trust with your clients. And from an outsider looking in, thinking, she's got a fabulous job. But I felt like I had more of a calling. I felt like I had more of a purpose. Like, what was God calling me, Kristy, to go ahead and do? Mm-hmm. And that was to find and help other individuals find their purpose. And it may not necessarily be from, you know, transitioning from corporate. It may be transitioning to doing something different. It may be, maybe you're a banker and you want to become a teacher, and being able to figure out what skills you have, and being able to translate those to doing something different. And I think that's really powerful.
It is, especially when you get to that point, because I remember feeling that, oh my God, like this sort of urgency, or this real tug to like do something else. Like there was something else that I had to do. But that place where you're at of feeling that, but then not knowing what's next. Mm-hmm. So do you have clients that come to you and they're like, I just know there's something else, but I have no idea what it is?
And we work through a process of both internal clarity, because I think that you have to learn about who you are as a person.
Right.
And then we go on a journey of external clarity. And I tell them, dabble in this. This does not have to be forever. Just like, I started in health coaching and network marketing, and have, moved my way through the process to find something that I love. Right. I may not always remain in this. Mm-hmm. And I know that, and I'm okay with that, and being able to go ahead and grow. Just like when we started in a corporate position, you don't start and you don't stay in the same position. You continue to grow with the skills that you learn.
Right.
So, and that's what's pretty cool. It's dabbling. It's finding out, what is in alignment with you and what makes you feel good, what lights you up, and what results can you get other people, and how does that make you feel?
Yeah, I think that's
really, really important.
It is really important. And I like that you mentioned that to treat it a little more playfully, like you're just dabbling in it. That doesn't have to be something you're going to do for the next 40 years. You could do this for the next 6 months, but it'll allow you to explore and expand and see the possibilities. And then things start to fall into place, or people start to come to you for things, or you start to see that you're drawn more towards something, I think, once you start dabbling.
Definitely. And somebody was calling, I think it was Brene Brown. She was doing, and I think it's in the Gifts of Imperfection. It may be in one of her books, and I don't remember exactly which one, but she talks about the / career. And, we have like this idea that we have to go ahead and stay where we're at, or we have to go ahead and jump. Why not build like that / career,
right,
that / job, that side hustle while you're continuing to go ahead? That way you feel like you've got something else. You've got another stream of income. And I was like, I had my head in the sand with other streams of income. I was like, what do you mean I need another stream of income?
Right.
I take all the streams of income that I can get now.
Right.
I'm totally all about that. But, being able to go ahead and create a side hustle, being able to go ahead and create something that's sustainable, that allows you to go ahead and then transition if you would, choose to do so.
Right.
So,
because I'm sure there are people who are perfectly happy doing both.
Yep.
Staying with their corporate career. In fact, I know somebody who I recently spoke with, and she's like that, and she loves doing what she does. She can do what she does now, essentially, as her own kind of gig too.
Yep.
So it's really cool because she's got those skills that she can use externally and develop in a different way.
Yep.
So it doesn't even have to be completely, like I'm a horse trainer or something, and then I'm an accountant, like two totally different
things.
Probably really, because there probably are accountants who are horse trainers too, but I don't know. That's what came to my mind.
Yep. Yeah. But it's neat how you can go ahead and take the different interests that you have and actually make money from them.
Yeah.
And that is something that people can go ahead and do. And that's what I mean about being able to dabble in that, being able to go ahead and figure out what your passions are, and then being able to go ahead and see how you can make money doing that.
Yeah. So important to kind of opens your eyes, and it expands the little box that so many of us get stuck in. And I think often, it may not end up being that way so much for the younger generations, because I think they probably see a little bit more of it, but I don't know, maybe they don't either. But, I think traditionally growing up, well, my dad had a couple different things going on, but it was always like somebody worked in this one job their whole life. And, someone's like, oh, I put in 50 years at this place, and they weren't like the happiest people in the world.
No, that was my dad.
Yeah, they're like, I just picture like working in factories, going off to factories, and just putting in your hours, coming home. It's just very routine. But you can spice that up by exploring your other interests and probably even making money doing those.
Definitely.
That makes the day job that if you're not crazy about it, kind of a little bit better.
Well, and I think about my own dad. My dad was a teacher, and it wasn't in the best school district. So very difficult high school kids, very difficult administration. And he stayed because he needed a job and he didn't know what else he would go ahead and do. And he worked a side job. He was very, very good. My dad is excellent at being able to go ahead and do remodels. He basically redid, if he could have done it himself, he did and designed my parents' entire kitchen, their entire new living room, like from top to bottom. And it's absolutely gorgeous. He did a lot really good work. He's very creative. So he had a lot of those side jobs is what we would go ahead and call them.
Right.
But he never took that to that next level. And he could have made a lot of money doing that himself.
Right.
And been just as, and if not more, so much more successful. So growing up, knowing that and hearing like, I don't like my job. I don't like my job. I hate my job. I was like, I'm not going to stay in a job that like, I'm going to hate the rest of my life.
I know.
I got to do something about it.
Right.
And, my dad is since retired and, he's thankful that he has the ability to go ahead and now be free of that. But you spend so many years working in a job that you hate. There's so much more to me, than just that. Yeah. And I really realized that, we had a family member actually pass away. And I remember sitting at the funeral, smack dab in between my mom and my brother. And they were talking about the legacy that she was leaving and the memories, and the things that she's done over the course of her life. And I got to thinking, I was like, how do I want to be known?
Right.
How do I want to be known? Do I want to be known as Kristy the banker? No, I don't. I didn't want to be known as that.
Yeah.
And that was kind of that factor of now is the time to go ahead and do this. And very shortly after that, I was like, all right, I am leaving my keys on my desk and you'll find them there. Bye. See ya. We're an at-will employer. I can leave. You can fire me. And I was done. So
I think that's an important thing to think of, like when it's all said and done, and our limited time here doing this is over, like, what are you going to look back and wish you had done? Or, I don't think anybody's going to wish they'd stayed at a job they hated their whole life, right? Nobody's going to say that. So it's a nice little reality check to question yourself with that sometimes. Like, am I doing, even if it's just a part of my day or a part of my week, am I doing something that means something to me and that I feel brings value to my life and probably or hopefully the life of other people too?
Exactly. Well, and figure out what your purpose is. Are you living your purpose?
Mm-hmm.
Are you living, and are you doing what you really were meant to do?
And that could be a big ass question, right? like, oh my God, what, and to not beat yourself up if you don't know what that is.
Yep. Well, that's why I think that we do what we do. And there are people out there to go ahead and serve others that can help you figure out what that is.
Right.
Even to just go ahead and talk through it.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything now.
Right.
You can think about it. I mean, for me, it ruminated for a really long time.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And that is a huge value. I think just finding somebody that maybe doesn't even know you, right? And just kind of brainstorming and talking things through, because so much clarity comes from a conversation and exploring. And when you talk to somebody, like not your mom, not that there's anything wrong with moms, but we're cheerleaders when we're moms, right? So pretty much anything you want to do is going to sound good, right? But somebody else who can help you dig a little bit deeper, and, open a couple extra windows maybe.
Well, and you never know who they might know.
Exactly.
Or who they may, who they may be able to suggest that you talk with.
Right.
That may know someone. That's 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
And, had I not made that jump, I would have never expanded the network that I've expanded, and how how I had the opportunity to meet you, and being ever so thankful for that. I'm really, really grateful that I made that decision.
Yeah. I know you have no idea. Like I wish gosh, some days I really wish I had a crystal ball that I could see, like what, if I keep doing this and making these decisions and going that way, what will happen? Okay. And if I change it, what's going to be path B, but we don't. So you have to kind of listen to yourself and be quiet, and just kind of feel into it too. Like what excites you? Right. I think that's a big thing. Like if you think of one thing and you're like, whoa, it's like dreadful. You're like, okay, that's not the right thing. But you think of something else and you're like, oh yeah, like that would be crazy.
That totally lights me up.
Right. That is a direction to explore. And I think a lot of people maybe put too much brain into thinking about their purpose and not enough heart or just the gut feeling of it too. Sometimes you just have to let go a little bit more and not noodle it so much. You can noodle it after you figure out.
Yep. And I think too, even after you've kind of figured it out, you think to yourself, I think self-doubt kind of comes in and you sabotage that.
Yeah, of course it does. Of course, because we want to stay in that safe zone.
Definitely. I think, for me, I was like, who in the world's ever going to go ahead and buy something like this from me?
Right.
Literally, those are the thoughts, but that's the fear that comes in. And you're like, nope, just keep moving in the right direction. You'll figure it out. Keep moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And it's been working. It's been really, really exciting.
And the support of other people that understand what you're doing or trying to do and where you're trying to go is so valuable. Like I can't even say how valuable it is, because the people that are around you may not necessarily get it. They may listen and be like, okay. But when you connect with the people who are on the same journey as you, whatever stage they're at, it's so empowering to have those connections that you can say, my ego right now is going, run backwards, go back and do this thing that you're comfortable with. You did that for 20 years. Just stay with that. That's what you know.
But again, that goes back to being comfortable. You don't grow in comfort.
Nope, you don't. And you don't even know what's out there to explore until you keep pushing and keep stretching that comfort zone. And that's when you take stock and you're like, you have to consciously do it though. I think you have to look back, because even over this past year for me, I have to stop and look back and say, even in those moments where I'm thinking, what am I doing? Go, but look what I've done. Look at the connections I've made. Look at what I've accomplished. Did I ever think I could? I think probably 2 years ago, I'd be like, no, I didn't really see that.
That's too scary.
Right? But then you do it and you just take one step at a time and you keep taking small, consistent actions. Get help when you need it.
And it's asking for help.
All of a sudden you're there. Right. Asking for help. That's a tough one for a lot of people.
That's what it took me a really long time to even ask the people that love me for help.
Yeah.
Being afraid of them saying no.
Right.
And you just kind of look there. But to be able to put yourself out there and be vulnerable and to recognize that they want to give you that help.
Right.
That's what we're there for. That's what we're here to go ahead and serve other people.
Yeah.
And they want to help.
There aren't too many people that say no, actually. At least not in the circle of people that I know.
No.
There really aren't. And I think that's fantastic. And I think if you, it's a like attracts like, and what goes around comes around kind of a thing too. But you surround yourself by the right people, and that's what helps you grow.
Definitely. I would agree 1,000%.
Yeah.
And without the community that we've built, I think that's something that I probably would have ran away scared.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that's important.
Really. It really, really is. So your experiences of the past 18 months or so, have you run across any mantras or quotes that are a favorite of yours, that kind of a go-to, or keep coming back to this?
Actually, yes. I'm a big fan of Brené Brown, and she talks about this mantra, and I've adopted it for myself, and I choose discomfort over resentment. So when I say that, I think to myself, okay, do I say no to something? Because I was always a yes person. Yes, I'll do this, and yes, I'll do that, and yes, I'll do this. And overcommitting. And then or if I have something to go ahead and say to someone that I don't really want to hurt their feelings, maybe I would just keep it inside.
Right.
And maybe it's going to take me 5 seconds of insane courage to go ahead and tell somebody something that's honest and true. And then I'm going to have discomfort. That's going to be that discomfort that's there. Versus thinking, I'm going to carry this resentment around because I didn't say anything. So I choose discomfort over resentment. And being able to I had a situation happen earlier, very beginning of the year, and I had to be honest with someone. I was like, this isn't working. This isn't working for me. This isn't working for you. And just to say it in kindness, to be able to go ahead and share that situation with that person, I think went a long way. We maintained the relationship as best that we could, and we went our separate ways. And I think that's huge. And that made me feel really good to recognize. And I always think discomfort over resentment, discomfort over resentment, discomfort over resentment. Okay, no.
Right.
No, I can't do that.
Yeah. That's a good one. I always think of the little train that could. Whenever I kind of think of things too, like, I think I can. But like the little train kept going, and did it. It's a great story, isn't it? I haven't seen that one in so long.
Yeah.
But that is a good one, discomfort over resentment.
I choose discomfort over resentment.
Yep. I could think of how to, because even just thinking about it, and then you think of scenarios, you're like, oh. I don't want to
ask you to do something. For me, it's when people ask me to do something.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to do it, but in my head, I'm like, yeah, sure. I want to do that.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do that. No, now is really not the right time. But thank you very much for asking.
Yeah.
And overcommitting. I used to be a huge overcommitter, and I just can't manage it all.
No.
So I choose discomfort over resentment.
Yep. It's a good one. It's a good one. I think a lot of people will take a minute and think about that.
How it applies to them.
Right. Yeah. Because I think we all have our things that applies to.
When I heard Brené Brown talk about that, and I think it was I'm trying to remember, I don't remember which one it was in, but she was talking about her situation, and that really struck me. Wow. And it's been always something that I've carried forward, with me after I've heard it.
So that goes kind of around courage, being courageous, because it takes courage to get into that discomfort zone sometimes, right? So what would you say is the most courageous thing that you've done in your business? I would say just having the business.
I think it was leaving the way that I left.
Yes.
I think that's because obviously, I certainly, I could go back, I could, do something again like that again, but I have a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
And I feel really, really passionate that I have a bigger purpose to go ahead and then just be in that type of a role. And I think it was leaving. I think it was making the decision to do something different and be okay being different.
Right.
And accepting being different. You know, I think that a lot of people are in this, oh, I have to do this and I have to do this because it's expected of me.
Right.
You know, we learn that we go to school, we get a job, our parents want us to get a job so we can go ahead and pay our student loans. You know, all of these things are expected of us.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we do something different, we don't fit into the norm anymore.
Right.
And it took me a long time to be okay with not fitting into the norm.
Yeah.
And being okay with who I was.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people who would watch this would feel probably the same way, you know, like thinking about if they want to go outside of the lines, you know, color outside the line.
Mm-hmm.
And they think, oh, what's my husband going to say? What's my family going to say? Or what are all these people going to say if I travel this different road? Because they're genuinely concerned, which of course, I mean, I would be too.
Sure.
You know, but also taking that kind of leap of faith and exploring your own passions and what you're driven to do is courageous. It's brave. And you're trying it out, you know, like the wonderful thing about life is you can always make choices and you can always make a different choice and you can always change a situation. So it's not like this is the choice you're making right now and you have to stay with it for the rest of your life.
Right.
So I think looking at it like that is a little lighter, because a lot of times we feel like that day that you left your job, that was like a very finite decision. And sometimes, right, you could be like, oh shit, like what did I just blew it? Like I just blew that whole thing. What am I going to do now? You know, like you could have that thought and you could kind of stay stuck with that, or you can embrace that courage and use that power of that to propel yourself into something.
Yes, definitely.
Whew. Getting me excited.
I'm glad.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff. So in kind of wrapping this up, I know we covered a lot and probably went off topic too. Half the time I don't even know where the conversation's going, right? We have a basic structure.
And that's what's nice.
Just do whatever we want. You know the rules and then you break them. So
I'm all about breaking the rules.
You actually have a pretty great offer for people. And I think that is such a gift in itself of time, right? So share what you're gifting.
Sure.
Because that's very powerful and can really open doors.
Yeah, 45 minutes. I offer a laser-focused coaching call for 45 minutes. And we talk a little bit about where you're at and then where you want to go. We have the opportunity to explore, you know, some different passions that you may have. And it's really laser focused into what you don't want right now and allowing you to go ahead and leave with some sort of action so that you can go ahead and do something that you do want. Yep.
That can be perfect stepping stone for so many people who are at that, like we mentioned at the beginning of the interview, that feeling of knowing there's something more.
Are you lacking that clarity? Are you lacking that purpose? Reach out, talk to somebody about it. You don't have to take the next step.
Right.
Let it marinate a little bit and like figure out what you want to do and how you want to go ahead and move forward.
Yeah.
That's what it's there for. Sometimes
just those little seeds start growing, and then because the seeds are planted, you start seeing different opportunities. Yep. And
definitely
stuff starts coming in and you're like, oh my God.
It's because you opened that door. You were open to the opportunity.
Right.
To allow other things to come in.
Yep. Fabulous. You're going to help like 1 million people.
I love it.
1 million. I'm going to put that out there. For the doors.
I'm open to it.
At a comfortable trickle. Not like 1 million people all at one time.
Well, if 1 million people came at any one time,
they could watch.
they could watch.
We could do a live stream. There's going to be Kristy on a live stream with.
But I'm also thinking that I've assembled a team of individuals that can go ahead and help.
Yes.
So, because I know that I can't do it alone. That was the other thing. I've recognized that I can't do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to go ahead and partner with individuals like yourself has been really, really key to my success.
Yeah. So. I think that is like the crazy, important, awesome bit to doing what we do. Is the networking part. And it's not like networking. Like
it's the partnerships and the friendships and the support that we create for one another.
Exactly.
So you've got a talent and you have your zone of genius. I have my zone of genius, and being able to work together to, make what I need done happen and get my shit done. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And I love that. I love the connections, because then if somebody approaches you and you're just not the right fit, like you really aren't, the best person to help them with what they want, then you have like all these other people around you that you're like, but I do know somebody who is perfect for you, because I like the no competition zone. Yep. I don't feel that any of it is. So, because we all have our own personalities and we all have, that's another thing. People with their passions, sometimes they get caught in the, so many people are doing this already. Like how could I?
There's no competition.
Find my, how could I make money or thrive doing this thing when there's like 50 million other people that do it? And that's something that a lot of people think about, but they can't bring what you have to the table
because you and I are both unique.
Yeah. So I think that's an important little last nugget of something I had to bring out there because it popped in my head.
I love it.
That's how I roll. If it pops in there, I say it.
That's what I so appreciate about you.
That leads to really long conversations sometimes too, though. So thank you. Okay. And to contact you, I will have that link on my website.
Yeah.
With Kristy's bio and the recording of this video and a link that you can connect with her, and just share your website real quick.
It's www.kristyjones.co.
Very good. And you can find me at CherriseBoucher.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you.